After the devastation of World War II, as tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies rose, the Western Union and subsequently NATO and the CIA, in collaboration with European intelligence agencies, would form small cells of operatives intended to fight off the inevitable invasion of the Soviet Union into Europe. Join me and my friend Stanley as we investigate the clandestine stay-behind operation known as Operation Gladio. And welcome back to Conspiracy Gamers number 8. Not a milestone at all. In fact, 8 is one of my least favorite numbers. But it'd be a good topic today. We're talking about the clandestine stay-behind operation, Operation Gladio. Hello, my name is Samuel. I'm your host. And what's your name, sir?
Stanley.
Y'all getting pretty familiar with Stanley at this point. 3 episodes in a row. That makes him like the longest running episode guest ever.
I love it.
Give him, once he's been here for the majority, we'll just make him co-host, send him half the money we make from this. Just kidding, 30%.
30-70 split. I'm going to ask for 35.
Yeah, 30-70, and then I get 35, and the channel gets 35. That way, when we make $100, I can put $35 into a cam link. So we don't have to use these stupid web cameras anymore. Okay. Yeah. All right. So here we are talking again. We're going to talk about Operation Gladio, which is a post-World War II effort in order to fight the Red Stain, or pretty much any socialist view whatsoever, including free healthcare. Mr. Stanley, what do you know about Operation Gladio?
That it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Orchestrated between primarily Italy, so like the Vatican and the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
They chose small groups of people and left a whole bunch of depots, arms depots behind. I think it was like 140 or something all across Italy.
Yeah,
full of
pretty much
weapons and explosives.
Yep.
And left these groups of people behind that could utilize these in the case of a follow-up Russian invasion post World War II.
Yeah, and they were all they were selected on a couple of what do you call it? They were selected on a couple of parameters, right? Like they wanted them to be pretty physically fit or whatever. They had to have had military experience typically, and then the most important one was that they're able to escape deportation or internment, right? So they're basically looking for some James Bond shit, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, and then they made little cells, right? We've heard of this term before, used in warfare, cells or whatever, right? It's kind of like a terrorist type thing.
Terrorist cell.
Yeah, terrorist cell. Except for this case, it's a NATO-sanctioned terrorist cell. Maybe not terrorists. What do you want to call them? Patriots?
I mean, they essentially broke down to being terrorist cells. That's exactly what they ended up doing.
Yeah, but yeah. So the CIA was involved, and the CIA is kind of like terrorists if they weren't sanctioned, right? So let's call them agents instead of terrorists. What else should we call them? No, agents or sleeper cells?
Operatives.
Operatives, yeah. They were intelligence operatives and espionage operatives, and responsible for sowing disinformation
and general discord.
Yep.
And honestly is responsible for a lot of right-wing activist groups and straight up murders and explosions.
Yeah, lots of that stuff. Good old Western forces there. So I'm just gonna read a bit off the wiki here and we will go for it. Operation Gladio is the code name for clandestine stay-behind operations of armed resistance that were organized by the Western Union, the WU, as we like to call them, and subsequently by NATO and the CIA. And in collaboration with the European intelligence agencies, the operatives... I can't read. The operation was designed for the potential Warsaw Pact, Warsaw Pact, invasion and conquest of Europe, although Gladio specifically refers to Italian branch of NATO stay-behind organizations. Operation Gladio is used as an informal name for all of them. Stay-behind operations were prepared in many NATO member countries and some neutral countries, which is something I found super interesting. Like I already touched on it before we were talk about the pod, right? But they were in Switzerland, homies. Like those poor Swiss, man. How long Sweden been neutral? Or Switzerland?
Like forever. I don't think there's like since probably since whatchamacallit. Can't remember the name of the country.
1815.
Anyway, yeah. Since like the beginning of the industrial times.
Yeah. And then these guys all went there and they set up these tiny anti-socialist cells, operatives. And anyways, they set them up and then sowed disinformation and, fucked with any socialist views whatsoever. Because they were so afraid of the Soviet Union after World War II.
I like the next paragraph more than I like the first one.
Go for it.
During the Cold War, some anti-communist armed groups engaged in the harassment of left-wing parties, torture, terrorist attacks, and massacres in countries such as Italy. The role of the CIA and other intelligence organizations in Gladio, the extent of its activities during the Cold War era, and any responsibility for terrorist attacks perpetrated in Italy during the years of lead are subject of debate. Researcher Francesco Cacciatore, in an article based on recently declassified documents, writes that a note from March 1972 specified that the possibility of using Gladio in the event of internal subversions, not provided for by the organization's statute and not supported by NATO directives or plans, was outside the scope of the original stay-behind and therefore never to be considered among the purposes of the operation. The pressure put forward by the Americans during the 1960s to use Gladio for purposes other than those of a stay-behind network would appear to have failed in the long term.
Yeah. I don't think it did. Not at all. Sounds like a pretty successful operation to me.
There were a lot of three countries had parliamentary inquests into it that turned out that the weapons caches and operatives from Gladio that were left behind in their countries were in fact behind a lot of terrorist attacks throughout those countries for like 30 years.
Was it in Austria or Switzerland where the operation, it's like internal code name in the country was like I think it was Switzerland. I think it was the Switzerland fucking hiking and nature center or something. I
can't remember.
It was basically a club. It was like the hiking club of Switzerland or something.
Post-war creation. I just saw that. Where is it? Crap.
I still thought that was so funny. What if someone just wanted to go for a good hike and accidentally becomes a terrorist agent? That would suck.
Switzerland. In Switzerland, a secret force called P26. Project 26 is in Switzerland.
That's the one. That is the one where they call it the biking club, isn't it?
Secret. Or by coincidence, a few months before Giulio Andreotto's October revelations, investigating the Defense Department, not directly involved in the network, but it had close contact to MI6.
I like listening to you read. Just mumbling. This stuff's great.
This is insane.
I'm going to continue with the next paragraph for you. Let's see if I can read this one without stumbling.
Yeah.
Okay, the three inquiries reached differing conclusions as regarded different countries. Did they write that right, or am I reading it stupid, Stanley? The three inquiries
reached differing conclusions as regarded different countries. So, Italy, Switzerland, and Belgium.
I've never heard as regarded used like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it applies. The grammar works.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, so Guido Salvini, a judge who worked in the Italian Massacres Commission. Wow.
They had one of those.
That sounds cool. That sounds like a good job. I hope he made a bunch of money. I mean, the stuff he probably had to deal with on a daily basis would be pretty tough, right? Because he only dealt with massacres, right? What is a massacres
You'd hope it would be
commission?
like a daily basis, but like
Italian massacres. Well, I don't know, man. It's Italy. Italian massacres division. He's like, they're like, what's I do an Italian accent? Oh no, the wine. The cellar, it's exploded. All the wine has fallen down. It's a massacre. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry, Italy. Don't kill me.
the Shikuli massacre changed.
Commission concluded that the right-wing terrorist organizations of the years of Lead, La Fenice, National Vanguard, and Ordine Nuovo were the trench troops of a secret army remotely controlled by exponents of the Italian state apparatus and linked to the CIA. Salvini said that the CIA encouraged them to commit atrocities. The Swiss inquiry found that the British intelligence secretly cooperated with their army in an operation named P-26 and provided training in combat, communications, and sabotage. It also discovered that P-26 not only would organize resistance in the case of a Soviet invasion, but would also become active should the left succeed in achieving a parliamentary majority. The Belgian inquiry could find no conclusive information on their army, no links between them and terrorist attacks were found, and the inquiry noted that the Belgian secret services refused to provide the identity of agents, which could have eliminated all doubts. A 2000 Italian parliamentary report from the left-wing coalition Gruppo Democratici di Sinistra Liuvio, did I do that right? Reported that terrorist massacres and bombings had been organized or promoted or supported by men inside Italian state institutions who were linked to American intelligence. The report also said that the United States was guilty of promoting the strategy of tension. Operation Gladio is also subjected to have been activated to counter existing left-wing parliamentary majorities in Europe. So, I mean, pretty nefarious. What do you call that? Elections fraud? Didn't they just go through this? This is like karma, right? So they had this, yeah. No wonder the Russians fucking worked with Trump to put him in office, right? They're like, you fuck with us, we fuck with you.
Like, honestly.
100%, right? So this is old news too, like seeing these patterns in the world of like foreign
governments have
interference
always
in your
been
government.
fucking with each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, as soon as we had
It was almost more civil when we used to
intercontinental-
just massively murder each other in order to solve a dispute, because then at least you knew who was winning.
Now it's your party coming out on top in politics could be the agenda of a completely different nation. It has nothing to do with your own country's well-being at all.
Yeah.
It's somebody else pulling the strings, and you would have no fucking idea.
Yeah. Here, let's finish off this section, actually. So the U.S. Department published a communique in January 2006 that stated it claims that the United States ordered, supported, or authorized terrorism by stay-behind units and U.S.-sponsored false flag operations or rehashed former Soviet disinformation based on the documents that the Soviets forged. The word gladio is the Italian form of gladius, a type of Roman short sword, which we already knew. Gladiuses are pretty dope. But yeah, apparently it's disinformation by the Russians, according to the West. Yeah, convenient. And who were they fighting over there?
The Russians.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. So, like, we're demonizing the enemy. Makes sense. 100%.
Everything bad that happened was the Russians.
How dare they?
All of it.
They disgust me.
Look at these Russians interfering in your politics. How could they do this? You should be outraged.
Yeah.
Those darn Russians.
100%. No cap. You want to let's kick off the history and general stay behind structure. Just for anyone who watches this, I think we read a lot off the wiki. We look into this throughout the week, but then it's nice to have like things structurally presented to you to jog your memory, because after you watch like 4 hours worth of documentaries and stuff about these topics, your brain kind of turns to pudding. And then we decided to do this at 2 p.m., which I think is an hour past prime recording opportunity. I think 1 p.m. is like, my brain is huge. And then after that, it just starts shrinking. And then I didn't even wake up till 1 today. So now I'm the best mom ever.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, anyways, we're going to move on to the next section of the wiki, which is history and general stay-behind structure. That first section looks really good. Wow, this is gonna be the fun part.
During World War II.
Yeah. So why don't you read the first paragraph there?
All right. You mean the first sentence or the actual first paragraph?
The first paragraph.
That's one sentence. That first. Oh no, it's 2 sentences, I guess.
Well, just you get right up to the Nazi Germany at the end of that first one.
Following the fall of France in 1940, Winston Churchill created the Special Operations Executive (SOE) to both assist resistance movements and itself carry out sabotage and subversive operations in occupied Europe. It was revealed half a century later that SOE was complemented by a stay-behind organization in Britain created in extreme secrecy to prepare for a possible invasion by Nazi Germany.
Yeah. So they basically took that same invasion path, though, right? And then they bolstered those areas with different cells, right? Because they were supposed to fight if the Soviets ever actually came in as well, which obviously was the main objective or whatever. And then other than that, you just, torture and terrorist the government for fun, I guess. I bet they were just bored and they needed to stay sharp, right? Because like each group had to have a communications expert, a demolitions expert, and whatever, like a team captain who loves it when a plan comes together, that kind of thing. Yeah. Really interesting. So lead. I bet a lot of the crap that they were doing, the way they would probably justify it to themselves is that they're staying sharp in case they never actually needed to go into combat, right? So what would you call that? I don't know.
It wouldn't even be hard for them to justify it with any other means. They're literally just saying that we're protecting the world. Yeah. That was their whole ideology. It was they are protecting the world.
That's right.
By fucking influencing how these governments are elected and killing these random people and organizing civil disputes. They're making sure that something terrible can never come to power, while also supporting the terrible things that are coming to power.
Yeah. No, I mean that's how you do it, though, right? You have to have
because it's bad if it's somebody else's country. It's great if it's your country.
That's right. That's why all the bad stuff that happened was because of the Russians. Like, how dare they sow disinformation about our purely, I don't know what to call it, like our beautiful benevolent, patriotic warriors fighting for all that is good in the world.
Our benevolent terrorist cells that we left behind in your countries for benevolent reasons, not terrorism at all.
I like that one. Benevolent terrorists. Benevolent terrorist operatives.
With a network, various caches of explosives and guns.
Yeah. There's so much disinformation about this too, but like as a side topic, didn't Nelson Mandela acquire like enough explosives to blow up a city the size of Johannesburg or something?
I actually don't know.
I don't know. This is not facts. This is just like something I heard in conversation one time, and I work in construction, so half the things I hear in conversation are not true. They're just really fun to talk about for 5 seconds. Anything to let you put your hammer down. A network of resistance fighters was formed across Britain and arms caches were established. The network was recruited in part from the 5th Ski Battalion of the Scots Guards, which had originally been formed but was not deployed to fight alongside Finnish forces fighting the Soviet invasion of Finland. The network, which became known as the Auxiliary Units, was headed by Major Colin Gubbins. I love that name. Gubbins. No, come on. There's no way. That's Gubbins.
Nah.
That's Gubbins right there. 100%. That's Gubbins.
Colin Gubbins.
No, it's Gubbins. Major Colin Gubbins. I bet he sounded like this. Look at you. My name is Gubbins. Okay, I'm out of here. An expert in guerrilla warfare who would later lead the SOE. The units were trained in part by Mad Mike Calvert, a Royal Engineers officer who specialized in demolition by explosives and covert raiding operations. To the extent that they were publicly visible, the auxiliary units were disguised as Home Guard units under the GHQ Home Forces. The network was allegedly disbanded in 1944. Some of its members subsequently joined the Special Air Service and saw action in Northwest Europe. While David Lamp published a book on the auxiliary units in 1968, their existence did not become widely known by the public until reporters such as David Pallister of The Guardian revived interest in them during the 1990s. Amazing. So that's the British experience during World War II of these guys. So, oh my God, this stuff's so interesting. Let's just keep rolling. So the post-war creation. After World War II, the UK and US decided to create stay-behind paramilitary organizations with official aim of countering a possible Soviet invasion through sabotage and guerrilla warfare behind the enemy lines. Arms caches were hidden, escape routes were prepared, and loyal members recruited. Whether in Italy or in other European countries, its clandestine cells were to stay behind in enemy-controlled territory to act as resistance movements, conducting sabotage, guerrilla warfare, and assassinations. Ooh, shit.
This is nuts. Like, just this actually happened. Like, This is a real thing that they did.
Oh, but it never happens over here.
Of course not.
No. Why would it happen here?
We would never do that in our own country to influence who's in power.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, we might not, but
The United States definitely does.
yeah.
It's the CIA.
Well, I mean, we went through the
operate
MK Ultra thing,
independently.
right? Like,
Yeah.
they fucking, like, they don't
The CIA
care whose
operates
country they're in.
independently of any sort of government supervision.
Yeah.
They don't have to disclose anything they do to the government on any level.
Yeah. Yeah, the
They just
CIA
don't.
is like, what do you call them? They're like the senior bully in high school of the world. You know? This is picking on the Twinkies. He's like, oh, hey there. Oh, you're following the rules. That's cute. I know the rules too. I know how to abuse the rules. That's the CIA. And then they're like, here, buy some fucking opium from me.
Everything.
Yeah. Just kidding. It's fentanyl.
Anyways,
So
second
where-
paragraph.
That's all you
Clandestine
know.
stay-behind units.
Mm-hmm.
Clandestine stay-behind units were created with the experience and involvement of former SOE officers. Following Julie Andreotti's October 1990 revelations, General John Hackett, former Commander-in-Chief of the British Army on the Rhine, declared on November 16, 1990, that a contingency plan involving stay-behind and resistance in depth was drawn up after the war. The same week, Anthony Farrar Hockley, former Commander-in-Chief of NATO's forces in Northern Europe from 1979 to 1982, declared to The Guardian that a secret arms network was established in Britain after the war. Hackett had written in 1978 a novel, The Third World War, August 1985, which was a fictionalized scenario of a Soviet army invasion of West Germany in 1985. The novel was followed in 1982 by The Third World War, The Untold Story, which elaborated on the original. Farrar Hockley had aroused controversy in 1983 when he became involved in trying to organize a campaign for a new home guard against a potential Soviet invasion. Wow. They even wrote books about this
Oh, yeah, man.
theoretical situation.
But not a single person that watches this will have ever heard of it. Guaranteed. I mean,
NATO
this is the...
provided a forum. What? This is not...
Yeah.
They-
You want to
like,
keep
this
going?
is-
If you want to keep going, you can go ahead.
They just straight up talked about this. They're like, yeah, by the way, let's just discuss this amongst ourselves. Fucking national leaders. Like, NATO provided a forum to integrate, coordinate, and optimize the use of all SB, so, stay behind assets as part of the emergency war plan. Fucking NATO just, like, put this on the table and was like, yeah, let's talk about this insanity here, and it's perfectly normal. Yeah. All right.
Well, hey, this is recovering from a world war culture, right?
I guess.
And this
yeah.
is something that I think as a global civilization, we haven't actually escaped that mentality yet, right? It's still the us versus them. And then it's bled over to the point where I think it's even seeped into our politics, whereas there used to be...
Oh, it's 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Right?
Identity politics is a huge part of that. Like,
Well, it's also no longer like just an election, right? It's an election war. It's like who's going to win, right? Who's the victor instead of like who do we need?
Yeah.
And I think that like the vested interests of current democracy has been massively affected by the previous century's history, as I think every century has had, right? But it's just a weird world for that culture now because there's just too many of us to go around killing each other. We really got to think of a better way. Period.
Nah. Just keep doing the same
Stanley's-
old thing.
Yeah, well, we can't. Next time
Yeah.
we fuck up this big, right? Or as big as that last World War, right? That's it, man. That's like 15% of the population is going to be left. Either we'll be using like swarm drones to shoot people in the face with facial recognition software, or like, God forbid, nuclear weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We could literally blow up the planet if we fuck up. Too bad, right? Mutually assured
H-bombs.
destruction or whatever helps prevent wars, but it doesn't actually assure safety of the world at all.
It helps build the tension is all it really does. It increases the tension.
Yeah. Holy shit. I hit my microphone. Sorry, microphone.
Okay, so where was I? Part of the emergency plan. This coordination included the military SB units, which are part of NATO's order of battle, and the clandestine SBOs run by NATO nations. Western secret services had cooperated in various bilateral, tri-party, and multilateral fora in the creation, training, and running of clandestine stay-behind organizations, SBO, soon after World War II. In 1947, France, the United Kingdom, and the Benelux countries had created a joint policy on SB in the Western Union Clandestine Committee, WUCC, a forum of the Western Union, the European Defense Alliance predating NATO. The format entered into NATO structures around 1951 to 1952 when the Supreme Allied Commander in Europe established such an ad hoc committee, the Clandestine Planning Committee at SHAPE, S-H-A-P-E, it's in capitals, interesting. The peacetime role of the CPC would have been to coordinate the different military and paramilitary plans and programs in NATO nations and partners like Switzerland and Austria in order to avoid duplication of effort. The CPC itself had at least two working groups, one on communications and one on networks. SECUR, S-A-C-E-U-R, which is
I like the
Supreme Allied Commander in Europe.
Yeah, I would like to refer to that from here forward as saucer.
Saucer.
Yeah,
SECUR.
would have been better if they called it flying saucer.
Also established a special projects branch to develop and coordinate clandestine forces operating in support of Saucer's military forces.
He actually did it. Yeah, boy. That's amazing.
Fucking Saucer.
Right? Does that not fit perfectly with that word?
Saucer.
Yeah.
Because Europe.
Yeah. Saucer.
Supreme Allied Commander in Europe. What the fuck?
Yeah. Stanley's mind is blown. Here. In 1957, the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Benelux countries, all of which ran SBOs in Western Europe, established the Six Power Lines Committee, which became the Allied Clandestine Committee in 1958, and after 1976, the Allied Coordination Committee, the ACC. The ACC has been described as a technical committee to bring nations' SBOs together. It took guidance from the CPC and organized multinational exercises. The authority of Saucer when it came to clandestine operations was discussed in the early 1950s. As one can gather from the documents, shape problems outstanding with this standing group, which under the subheading 4 special plans, like IV special plans, calls for the delineation of responsibilities of the clandestine services and of Saucer on clandestine matters, including pertinent definitions and organizations and principles of unorthodox warfare planning. While all this concerned the highest levels of NATO command, coordination in a time of crisis had been arranged. Thus, to coordinate these activities at different command levels in wartime, Saucer created the Allied Clandestine Coordinating Groups, ACCG, staffed with the personnel from NATO nations at SHAPE, and the coordinated commands. In the case of war, Saucer was meant to exercise operational control of national clandestine services assets according to each nation's existing policies through the ACCG. By 1961, though both SHAPE and CPC accepted that such stay-behind activity, guerrilla warfare, and resistance under Soviet occupation was purely national responsibility. Just a couple decades later.
They decide like, oh yeah, it should be for each country individually to organize this. We shouldn't be doing it separately.
Yeah.
But after they've already had these teams in there for 20 years.
What's this
11
little
years?
Look at this little sub paragraph here. This is an interesting one. Historian Daniel Ganser claims that next to the CPC, a second secret army command center labeled Allied Clandestine Committee ACC was set up in 1957 on the orders of NATO's Supreme Allied Commander in Europe, Saucer. This military structure provided for significant U.S. leverage over the stay-behind unit networks in Western Europe as the Saucer throughout NATO history has traditionally been U.S. general who reports the Pentagon in the Washington and is based out of NATO's Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers, Europe. Shape.
There we go.
This guy's
That's
just like,
shape is.
Yeah, that's right. In Mons, Belgium, the ACC's duties included elaborating on the directive of the networks, developing its clandestine capabilities, and organizing bases in Britain and the United States. In wartime, it was to plan stay-behind operations in conjunction with SHAPE. According to the former CIA director William Colby, it was a major program, which I just never trust the CIA anymore, man. I can't even imagine what they're up to right now. Coordinating the North Atlantic, like, what do they have to do with? Never mind. Anyways, fuck that. Coordinated by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, were run by the European Military Secret Services in close cooperation with the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency and the British Foreign Secret Service. SIS, also MI6, right? Yeah, people love that. Trained together with U.S. Green Berets and British Special Air Service, these clandestine NATO soldiers with access to underground arms caches prepared to fight a potential Soviet invasion and occupation of Western Europe, as well as coming to power of communist parties. The clandestine international network covered the European NATO membership, including Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Spain, and Turkey, as well as neutral countries of Austria, Finland, Sweden, and Switzerland. The fucking Europe. Just Europe. Or like, Europe's ours now. Good job, Daniel Ganser. That was an excellent summary. That should just be my intro.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Solid. I like that
it says claims that, so that they avoid a citation on Wiki. So they claim that. That's totally what happened.
Gee. All right.
How far are we?
Intelligence Agency.
Oh yeah, we're almost there. You want to finish off this section? Then we'll go to break.
Hell yeah. All right. The Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, for anybody who doesn't know, responded to the series of accusations made by Ganser in his book regarding the CIA's involvement in Operation Gladio by claiming that neither Ganser nor anyone else could have solid evidence supporting their accusations. We can neither confirm nor deny. At one point in his book, Ganser talks about the CIA's covert action policies as being terrorist in nature, and then accuses the CIA of using their networks for political terrorism. The CIA responded by noting that Daniel Ganser's sourcing is largely secondary, and that Ganser himself has complained about not being able to find any official sources to support his charges of the CIA's or any Western European government's involvement with Gladio.
I mean, that's kind of the goal, right?
That's the whole point of the operation, is that they can't point a finger at any one person and say, you did this.
Yeah, I mean, that's why...
Like, you see, you can't do it. Fuck you.
That's exactly why we couldn't take out Al-Qaeda or the Taliban or fucking...
Which, I mean... Anyway, the existence of these clandestine NATO units remained a closely guarded secret throughout the Cold War until 1990, when the first branch of the international network was discovered in Italy. It was codenamed Gladio, the Italian word for a short double-edged sword, gladius. While the press said that the NATO stay-behind units were the best-kept and most damaging political military secret since World War II, the Italian government, amidst sharp public criticism, promised to close down the secret army. Italy insisted identical clandestine units had also existed in all other countries of Western Europe. This allegation proved correct, and subsequent research found that in Belgium, the secret NATO unit was codenamed SDRA-8, in Denmark Absalon, in Germany TDBDJ, in Greece LOK, In Luxembourg, Stay Behind. In the Netherlands, I&O. In Norway, ROC. In Portugal, the Aginter Press. In Spain, the Red Quantum. In Switzerland, P26. In Turkey, Özel Harp Dairesi. I probably didn't say that right at all, but it's Turkish. In Sweden, AGAG, Aktionsgruppen Arla Grönig. Something. Sure. In France, Plan Bleu. Okay.
Plan Bleu. Okay.
Bleu.
I don't know
And
why.
in Austria,
Fuck, French makes me laugh.
OWSGB. Plan Bleu.
Plan Bleu.
However, the code name of the Stay Behind unit in Finland remains unknown, so we never know who was in Finland. We'll never. Upon learning of the discovery, the Parliament of the European Union drafted a resolution sharply criticizing the fact. Criticized it very sharply. Yet only Italy, Belgium, and Switzerland carried out parliamentary investigations, while the administration of President George H.W. Bush refused to comment. If Gladio was the best kept and most damaging political military secret since World War II, it must be underlined, however, that on several occasions arms caches were discovered and stay-behind paramilitary organizations officially dissolved. NATO's stay-behind organizations were never called upon to resist a Soviet invasion. According to a November 13, 1990 Reuters cable, André Moyen, a former member of the Belgian Military Security Service and of the Stay-Behind network, said Gladio was not just anti-communist, but was for fighting subversion in general. He added that his predecessor had given Gladio 142 million francs to buy new radio equipment. That's $4.6 million.
Yeah.
Current currency. To buy new radio equipment.
Yeah.
That's some high-tech shit.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of radio equipment they were building, ICBMs or whatever, or fucking, what did I say? IEDs? Maybe? I don't know. $4.6 to buy radio equipment seems pretty intense. I mean, you could have hooked every single person up in all of Europe with like an HAM radio and encryption devices, and it wouldn't even cost that much. So whatever they spent it on, you know how it goes with these, right? It was probably mostly like hookers.
Guns. Lots and lots of guns.
Lots of guns, munitions. Yeah. It's probably the explosive devices.
Radio equipment.
Yeah, 100%. This is... it's so crazy. I can't imagine what it's like to have that job. You know what I mean? And then, like, do you ever return to society after, like...
Yeah, how would you become a functioning member of normal society after that? You just have to become, like, isolated, live like a fucking hermit off in the woods. Yeah,
this reminds me of, like... it's gonna be weird, but like high fantasy books, like when you read and they join. I've been reading this. I read this one by, I believe it's Jonathan Renshaw, called what's it called? Dawn of Wonder, and it's this first book in a series that I'm really excited to finish off. But anyways, it's like this boy, and his life is just awful. Anyways, it's the vibe you get reading the book is like his mother's a little too cowardly to protect him. His father's abusive criminal, and then he joins like a military academy, right? And in that military academy, he finds like his real home. But like the longer he spends there learning all those things, the closer and more deeply involved with the organization that his branch of the military that he's working for, he gets closer and closer to them until now he's like, how do you leave, right? Now that's his family. And it would be the same for these guys. It's like you get that vibe, right? It's like now they've been at war for like 3 decades or more, and they've been doing these things, and then so like their moral compass only works if the orders come from the top down. As soon as you like go back to society, what are you gonna do? Right? You can't go back after being a government sanctioned terrorist in Europe. I don't think you get to just return to society. And I wonder what happens to these people. Like they must all still be working in there.
No, like I said, a lot of them were probably diagnosed with some sort of fucking traumatic disorder, and I would assume that they were given homes like somewhere in the fucking woods, away from general people, and they just get like a supply dump.
No way, man. They got sent to South America. Somewhere tropical,
or that actually, yeah,
and a cheap retirement, right? So they're like, look, you can retire, go for the rest of your life, and instead of having to like give them $1 million payout, they can spend like $400,000 and set them up for 20 years.
Yeah,
live out the rest of their life in paradise.
Some third world country.
I mean, I'm assuming. as terrible
Or
as
else they
like,
just kill them, honestly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're still entitled to retirement, so they basically have like a, Canadian pension plan just on drugs.
But are they though?
No, sorry.
Like
What do I say?
these people
An
have
exaggerated
no fucking
version,
morals.
right? No, I bet they did. I bet they got full retirement packages that includes like tropical house and weekly cleaning and stuff like that. But I think a lot of these operatives would probably retire to somewhere like that, somewhere cheaper, maybe Vietnam. Probably you get to choose. You get some level of decision. And then you're probably consistently monitored for like the next 15 years to make sure that you're not starting to work for the Soviets. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they die in the CIA, Maybe
Well, honestly, like when you try to recover a field operative like that and tell them your mission is no longer to be a fucking government-sanctioned terrorist,
yeah.
the guy's been doing that for 30 years. He doesn't
Yeah.
know anything else at that point.
Yeah, instead
Like,
they're
they
like,
don't know how to be a normal person.
what we really need you to do is guard the White House. There's this guy in charge, and he's a fucking reality TV show host. They're like, what? Fuck this job.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, there's that too. I guess there must be some sort of like internal mobility within these organizations. Or it's just like all the movies where it's like, we're sick of you now. We're just going to send you on a mission that's impossible to win. But like on your mission to do a thing, as soon as you do that, we have 5 guys on a mission to get rid of you. And we told them that you're a terrorist from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And showed
That's
them
what
the
I'm
weapon
assuming
caches.
actually happens.
Yeah, 100%, right? Because they're like,
They line them up to just get fucking executed by their own people, just so that it's a loose end, and now it doesn't exist anymore.
they're like, look, man, these guys were part of this crazy thing called the ACC, okay? And the ACC is a terrorist organization organized by some of the top countries in the world. Blah 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 blah. Look at all these weapon caches.
Huge
They're here,
Russian
here,
backing.
and here.
The Russians have been sneaking.
So you're gonna
weapons
go
into
in
your countries.
and you're gonna take all these explosives and this $4.6 million worth of radio equipment and all these guns, and you're gonna load it into a truck and you're gonna take off. Then you're gonna hunt these guys down and you're gonna murder them. And those guys are hanging out in probably South America, just like I said, and they fucking get got by the new young breed of CIA operatives. Yeah,
Sure.
that's got to be it, right? I mean, not only is it good literature and a good movie when I think about it that way, but it also just like makes sense. Like if you're, you have to not retire.
Then they spin it as the CIA. Look at the CIA strike team caught a fucking terrorist shipping millions of dollars in weapons and radio equipment.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
They say, yeah, we intercepted that. Look at that. Look at how fucking amazing we are.
Yep.
The terrorist was known to have connections to these different organizations.
Yep.
And we have history of seeing him in these different countries around the times of these terror attacks. And we are fucking awesome.
Yeah. Nefarious connections to anti-socialist terrorist organization. Okay. Let's take a little halfway break here. We're about 42 minutes in. Where is my... Catch you soon. And welcome back to part 2. Where did we leave off here? Me and Stanley had a break. Stanley got himself a fantastic bagel. It sounds crunchy. It sounds delectable. It sounds fantastic.
We were sitting on top of the operations in NATO countries to the breakdown of what this operation looked like in every individual country.
So I don't want to go through every single one of these, like I was saying, but we should probably go through a few. Just to have fun with it. And then you, the viewer, if you would like us to cover these in more detail, you can give us a specific country you'd like to hear about in Europe and see what its ties to Operation Gladio were. I like that idea. Do you like that idea, Mr. Stanley? He's chewing with a thumbs up. Right on. Okay, where were we? Okay, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Italy. This one is actually decently popular, too. So if you hear about Operation Gladio, because its name comes from the Italian version of it, then we're going to cover this one, at the very least. Italy. The Italian NATO stay-behind organization, dubbed Gladio, was set up under Minister of Defense from 1953 to 1958, Paolo Taviani. Super division. Gladio's existence came to public knowledge when Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti revealed it to the Chamber of Deputies on October 24th, 1990. Although far-right terrorist Vincino Vinciguerra.
Vincenzo Vinciguerra.
Vincenzo Vinciguerra.
Vinciguerra.
Vinciguerra. Okay. Had already revealed its existence during his 1984 trial, according to media analyst Edward S. Herman. Both President of Italy Francesco Cossiga and Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti.
Yeah. Giulio.
This episode could just be called Stanley and Sam Attempt to Pronounce Italian Names. Had been involved in the Gladio organization and cover-up. According to former Italian Ministry of Grace and Justice, Claudio Martelli, during the 1980s and 1990s, Andreotti was the political reference of Licio Gelli and the Masonic Lodge. Oh, no way. That's the first time I read that, man. Really? What if...
Oh, boy.
Connected to the Masons. Everything we talk about. And for a conspiracy podcast, I was just talking about this. About the UFO podcast of the last one. Was the first time that we kind of went into the realm of like non-confirmed conspiracy stuff. Everything that we've talked about on this podcast, other than this so far, and then maybe the Titanic thing I brought up one time, is all like actually factually represented stuff. These are things you can look up and you can get details on them. And the fact that like the more you look into these real world conspiracies, the Masons pop up consistently. It's just fucking mind boggling to me. Like, what are they really? You know,
Excuse me.
Yeah. The only one it wasn't connected to was the MK Ultra, but
that we saw.
That's right. Secretly, the Masons Lodge was distributing LSD to the homeless people all around the world. Probably not, but yeah.
Who knows?
That's interesting stuff.
It was mind control experiments. It sounds like something the Masonic lodges would be behind.
100%. So actually, Italy has a rather large section here. So I'm going to keep going. Giulio Andreotti's revelations on the 24th of October 1990, Christian Democrat Prime Minister Giulio Andreotti publicly recognized the existence of Gladio on the 24th of October 1990. Andreotti spoke of a structure of information response and safeguard. With arms caches and reserves officers, he gave the Commissione Stragi, a list of 622 civilians who, according to him, were part of Gladio. Andreotti also stated that 127 weapon caches had been dismantled and said that Gladio had not been involved in any of the bombings committed from the 1960s to the 1980s. Oh, no, that was not us. That was somebody else, I believe. Andreotti declared, they're like, it wasn't us. It was the CIA, those fucks. Andreotti declared that the Italian military services, predecessors of the SISMI, I wish that was blue so I could look up that acronym, had joined in 1964 the Allied Clandestine Committee created in 1957 by the US, France, Belgium, and Greece, and was in charge of Gladio's operation. However, Gladio was actually set up under the Minister of Defense from 1953 to 1958, Paolo Tiavani's supervision. Beside the list of Gladio members given by Andreotti was... Sometimes sentences just don't sentence in my mind. Beside the list of Gladio members given by Andreotti was incomplete.
Didn't include, for example, Antonio Arconte.
How does that sentence check out? Let's back the fuck up.
It's supposed to be besides. It's missing an S.
Besides, comma. Okay.
Yeah, the list of Gladio members given by Andreotti was incomplete.
Okay. I should just skip the beside.
Reinforcing. Yeah.
It didn't include, for example, Antonio Acronte, who described an organization very different from the one brushed by Giulio Andreotti. An organization closely tied to the SID Secret Service and Atlantic Strategy. Wow. According to Andreotti, the stay-behind organizations set up all over Europe did not come under broad NATO supervision until 1959. So, in other words, where was the number there? 622 people that were involved is actually not the real number. There was more. That's what I'm getting out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Judicial inquiries.
And
You want to take it away,
that he
Mr.
was
Sandler?
that he was still obscuring facts, like straight up. Just
Yeah.
he knew things. And he was just saying, yeah, this isn't the truth.
Yeah, there was just a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then judicial inquiries. So the judge, Guido Salvini, who worked in the Italian Massacres Commission, found out that several far-right terrorist organizations were the trench troops of a secret army who were linked to the CIA. Salvini said the role of the Americans was ambiguous, halfway between knowing and not preventing and actually inducing people to commit atrocities. Pretty
Judge Gerardo D'Ambrosio.
fuck. Judge Gerardo D'Ambrosio found out that in a conference that had the patronage of the Chief Staff of Defense, there were instructions to infiltrate left-wing groups and provoke a social tension by carrying out attacks and then to blame them on the left.
Yeah.
Straight up civil terrorists.
Hashtag George Floyd. Just kidding. That's way too soon. I'm so sorry, internet.
You can't say things like that.
It's still fucked up that happened in my mind, that everyone kind of stopped talking about it because of COVID.
That whole ordeal is terrible.
Well, I mean, with yeah, whatever. Like, I think the worst part is just that that's not a special circumstance. It's just the first time it went viral. I think that makes me sad.
It's becoming more and more noticed just how terrible law enforcement officers can be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for the most part, I like to think, I trust police quite a bit or whatever, but I'm white. And I think a big problem could be just in general with the expedience of their training. You could probably become you go get out of high school, you could be a police officer by the time you're 21. It seems a little soon. I think there should be a full, maybe.
Men are still in the full brunt of their dick waveringness at the age of 21.
Oh man,
you have not settled down and become a reasonable human being at all.
I mean, there's not just that, and then you're getting into the force, and then you're with all these other people, and they're going to have their particular bias from their career's history, right? They're gonna this is the particular demographic which I have spent most of my time policing, and regardless of whether or not it's actually them responsible for whatever has just happened, I'm going to treat them with what do you call that? Prejudice, right? With
extreme
prejudice. Yeah, especially in terrible cases.
Always assume that they're willing to kill you is pretty much the basis of a lot of police operation. Yeah. Just assume that whoever you're talking to is going to try and kill you.
Yeah, but you really need to be afraid of that kid from the hills, right? You were from the upper hills in Hollywood or whatever. My dad's a lawyer. Fucking Chad, man.
God. Anyway, continuing with the actual subject.
My bad.
2000 parliamentary report. So in the year 2000, a strategy of tension. In 2000, a parliament commission report from the left-wing coalition Gruppo Democratici di Sinistra L'Ulivo. Interesting. I love Italian. Jesus. Asserted that a strategy of tension had been supported by the United States to stop the PCI and to a certain degree also the PSI from reaching executive power in the country. It stated that those massacres, those bombs, those military actions had been organized or promoted or supported by men inside Italian state institutions and, as has been discovered more recently, by men linked to the structures of United States intelligence. The report stated that U.S. intelligence agents were informed in advance about several right-wing terrorist bombings, including the December 1969 Piazza Fontana bombing in Milan and the Piazza della Loggia bombing in Brescia 5 years later, but did nothing to alert the Italian authorities or to prevent the attacks from taking place. So they knew about it before it happened and told fucking nobody. Yeah. They knew this stuff was happening, which just indicates that it was all going according to plan. Okay, sweet. Good. This is exactly what we want.
Yeah, just a quick elaboration here. The Piazza Fontana bombing was a terrorist attack that occurred on the 12th of December 1969 when a bomb exploded at the headquarters of Banca Nazionale del Agricoltural, the Natural Agricultural Bank in Piazza Fontana in Milan, Italy, killing 17 people and wounding 88. The same afternoon, 3 more bombs were detonated in Rome and Milan, and another was found unexploded. Wow. That's
Jesus.
After over 80 arrests were made, suspect Giuseppe Pinelli, an anarchist railway worker, died after falling from the fourth floor window of the police station where he was being held.
Falling.
Yeah, he fell out the window. What the fuck? Of a police station.
Where they were being held. So they were captured. They were.
So yeah,
like,
I mean, he must have.
So there was a police
he was
insider,
compromised.
assuming
His position was compromised.
Well, but usually police windows are all pretty fucking locked and secured.
Yeah, so whose office was he in, and who did they have connections to, right?
Which officers were monitoring them?
Yeah.
Like, there would have been people placed on their, like, security detail, you would think.
Serious discrepancies existed in the police account, which initially maintained that Pinelli had committed suicide by leaping from the window during a routine interrogation session. The police officers interrogated Pinelli, including Commissioner Luigi Calabresi, were put under investigation in 1971 for his death, but later inquiry ending in October 25th, 1975, 4 years, concluded that there were no wrongdoings regarding Pinelli's death. Tried after 3 days of intense questioning. Wow, that's just fucking crazy. Oh my God.
They just find, nothing wrong happened here.
Nope.
What?
It wasn't even suicide.
Guy was like an unsecured...
Motherfucker just fell out the window. He's like, excuse me, Mr. Officer. I am under a lot of stress right now. Do you mind if I take my cigarette out the window? Oh no. Doubts. I have huge doubts about that, man. What the fuck?
Press X to doubt.
Yeah. Jesus.
All right.
Okay, sorry.
So it also reported that Pino Rauti, former leader of the MSI Fiamma Tricolore party, journalist and founder of the far-right Ordine Nuovo, New Order, subversive organization, received regular funding from a press officer at the U.S. Embassy in Rome. So even before the stabilizing plans that Atlantic circles had prepared for Italy became operational through the bombings, one of the leading members of the subversive right was literally in the pay of the American Embassy in Rome. A report released by the Democrats of the Left Party says.
Jesus. This stuff's crazy.
They're really not trying to hide it at that point.
No, yeah. I mean,
that's...
Yeah.
You're literally paying a far-right politician.
Yeah.
Just funding everything he does. This isn't even a third world country. This is influencing another... This is a member of the European Union.
Yeah.
This is fucking Italy.
Yep. Post-war documents, man. The war never ended for these people. Ever. Right?
That's so fucking nuts.
Yeah. General Serravagli's statements. General Gerardo Serravalle, who commanded the Italian Gladio from 1971 to 1974. That lines up suspiciously with something I just read out loud.
Yeah.
What the fuck? This guy killed that dude. Had to be. Anyways.
Related.
This guy got that guy killed. This guy did that bomb attack and then was in lead.
Killed his loose end.
Yeah, he killed his loose end. Threw him out a fucking window. Okay. Related, in the 1970s, the members of the CPC Coordinated and Planning Committee were the officers responsible for the secret structures of Great Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Italy. The representatives of the secret structures met every year in one of the capitals. At the stay-behind meeting, representatives of the CIA were always present. They had no voting rights and were from the CIA headquarters of the capital in which the meeting took place. ... Members of the U.S. ... on Wiki. I've never seen one of those. But it's not being used in like a literary sense either, so I'm impressed. Members of the U.S. Forces Europe Command were present, also without voting rights. Next to the CPC, a second secret command post was created in 1957, the Allied Clandestine Committee, the ACC. According to the Belgian Parliamentary Committee of Gladio, the ACC was responsible for coordinating stay-behind networks in Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, Holland, Norway, United Kingdoms, and United States. During peacetime, the activities of the ACC included it is in quotes here, included elaborating the directives for the network, developing its clandestine capabilities, and organizing bases in Britain and the United States. In wartime, it was to stay behind operations in conjunction with SHAPE. Organizers were to activate clandestine bases and organize operations from there. General Serravalle declared the commission strategy, Commissione Stragi, headed by Senator Giovanni Pellegrino, that the Italian Gladio members trained at the military base in Britain. Okay. That one's interesting. What else have we got here?
That's a lot to unpack.
I know. That's why Italy was a big one, right? Obviously, they're really close to all the action, and they're like a strategic position too in Europe, right? Like that's why Rome's there, right? Jeez. And the Nazis wanted Italy too. Like if you're gonna take over Europe, you need Italy. I don't know why.
I mean, that's why Italy was on their side.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of know why, right? It's that. Oh, what do they call it? What sea is that?
Not the Aegean.
What's that?
Yeah,
the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah, totally, 100%, right? That's a massive strategic position. Not only is it a large natural barrier for people getting into your country or whatever, but it also allows for a quick dispersal of troops through these ports and stuff like that. So if you do that, you have a pretty good hold over most of southeastern Europe. And all the way to, you just wrap around the country at that point.
It's also why Allies had a strike team that started at the end of the Italian peninsula and just rushed everything.
Yeah.
Because they needed that to be out of Axis control.
Wow. This is such crazy shit to learn about every time.
And just this is general, like this is public information now.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Anybody can. We're on fucking Wikipedia, boys and girls. Like, there's more than a dozen articles that you can. If you Google Operation Gladio, stuff just pops up, a gigantic fucking list.
Oh yeah.
Different sources.
Yeah.
And it all has corroborating information, and it all points to the CIA are a bunch of cunts.
Yeah, and they are, and they have been, and they will be, and guaranteed they are right now. Like I always talk about, like these black operations and like the stuff that they're involved with.
Shit like this. The shit like this is still happening.
Yeah,
like they can say, oh, the ones in Europe ended in fucking 1990 or 2000, wherever the hell.
Yeah.
But what about the rest of them that probably exist all around the fucking world?
Yeah, and then you see them doing these things, and you just can't help but wonder like what a lot of the other things that we've been exposed to in our lifetime or what it really points towards, right? Some of the terrible atrocities that have been committed in the modern age, the falling of the Twin Towers, right? And why it makes it hard to trust your narrative, right? The narrative that your society perpetuates, because this is clearly not what people were being told back then, nor did anyone even fucking know until the 90s, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when this stuff started. And then now it's just like declassification after declassification, author after author, researcher after researcher has looked into this, and they're like, look, this is some nefarious shit. How come we haven't heard about it before? And they get this stuff out there. And then here we are with the power to telepathically communicate through the generations at light speed. And, whatever. We spend most of our time watching TikTok.
Love it. TikTok, surfing Reddit, playing video games.
Yeah.
Watching Netflix.
Let's get into some of these other ones here. Denmark's a nice little short one. I like the idea of going through Germany and Greece.
I was going to say Germany and Greece look interesting.
Yeah. And then Austria. I know Austria is interesting. So I'll do Germany, you do Greece. Perfect. U.S. intelligence also assisted in the setup of West German stay-behind stay-behind network. CIA documents released in June 2006 under the 1998 Nazi War Crime Disclosure Act showed that the CIA organized stay-behind networks in West Germany agents between 1949 and 1953. According to the Washington Post, one network included at least two former Nazi SS members, Staff Sergeant Heinrich Hoffmann and Lieutenant Cole Hans Roos.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Yeah. Thank you. That's 100% my bad. Where was I? Lieutenant Colonel Hans Ruse. Cole. Called him Cole. My man Cole was there. Anyways, and one was run by Lieutenant Colonel Walter Kopp, a former German army officer referred to by the CIA as unconstructed Nazi.
An unreconstructed
Nazi. So he's just a Nazi.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
An unrepentant Nazi, I assume, as well.
Yeah.
So he still believes that they were doing the right thing.
Google unreconstructed Nazi and see what comes up while I finish this. The network was disbanded in 1953 amid political concerns that some members of neo-Nazi sympathies would be exposed in West German press. Documents shown to the Italian Parliamentary Terrorism Committee revealed that in the 1970s, British and French officials involved in the network visited a training base in Germany built with U.S. money. Did anything come up for unreconstructed Nazi?
A couple of things, but there's a whole bunch of crap I have to read through before I can.
That's fair enough.
It pretty much does break down to
just a Nazi.
They are just unrepentant. They're unrepentant.
Yeah, they're a Nazi.
Yeah. Not reconciled to some political, economic, or other. Or social change.
So what the fuck does that mean? Does that mean the U.S. was like, look, I know you guys don't want this to become a communist place either, obviously, right? And then they put them in charge. Yeah. Well, I mean, they did just come from, like, whatever, the most tyrannical, nationalistic, fascist fucking thing to happen within the last 200 years. So they're clearly far from the left, right?
Yeah, that's the point.
I guess they put them in control.
Holding stubbornly to a particular belief, view, place, or style. So yeah, it's literally just a guy who's still a total fucking Nazi. His party lost. Their leader is dead. Everything they did was condemned on a world stage, and then the U.S. just took these guys and was like, "You've got some good ideas in your head. We're gonna put you in charge of this fucking clandestine operation."
Have you ever wanted to be a terrorist inside Germany? Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's Operation Paperclip at its finest right there. Let us know if you want to cover that in a future episode, by the way, people.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we? In 2004, the German author Norbert Uretzko published a book about his works at the BND. He went into details about how recruiting partisans for the German stay-behind network. He was sacked from BND following a secret trial against him because the BND could not find out the real name of his Russian source, Ryubazal. That's a cool name. Russians always have the coolest names. Until you run into that one, you're like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Dennis." But anyways, whom he had recruited. A man with the name he put on file was arrested by the KGB following the treason in BND, but was obviously innocent. His name, suspicious. His name having been chosen at random from public phone book by Uretzko.
They just picked somebody that was also named Rubiazal.
Yeah. According to
this guy's the guy.
Yeah. According to Uretzko, the BND built up its branch of Gladio, but discovered after the fall of German Democratic Republic that it was fully known to be the Stasi early on. The Stasi? It
was fully known to the Stasi.
The Stasi, the Ministry for State Security or State Security Service, commonly known as Stasi. The German Democratic Republic. Okay, so it's the Ministry of State Security. So that's their CIA. When the network was dismantled, further details emerged. One fellow spy master had kept the radio equipment in his cellar at home, with his wife doing the engineering test call every 4 months, on the grounds that the equipment was too valuable to remain in civilian hands. Uretzko found out because his spy master had dismantled his section of the network so quickly. There had been no time for measures such as recovering all caches of supplies. Civilians recruited as stay-behind partisans were equipped with clandestine shortwave radios with a fixed frequency. It had a keyboard with a digital encryption. Yeah, this is what we were talking about with the format. Making the use of traditional Morse code obsolete. Yeah. They had a cache of further equipment for sailing helicopters or submarines to drop special agents who were to stay behind partisan homes while mounting sabotage operations against communists. I don't know where my reading ability just went. It was doing good like 3 minutes ago, and then I'm anyways. That's crazy.
Your brain can't handle all this input. This is so fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think that's 100% it. It's like my mind's being fucked. Like while I'm reading, I'm thinking about everything we know about this and have been learning about this. It's nuts. And by the way, guys, I don't know. So far, just diving into the wiki on this podcast is doing more for my brain than all the hours of fucking documentaries and other people's videos on YouTube I've watched, because no one else talked about that guy yeeting himself out a window by accident.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like,
no one else talked about recruiting fucking Nazis. Jesus Christ.
Like straight up unrepentant active Nazis, and just being like, hey, you get to run this clandestine operation that's going to be a terrorist cell in your country. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this stuff's nuts, man. My mind is melting. Yeah. Okay, Greece, your turn.
Greece.
Mr. Stanley.
All right. When Greece joined NATO in 1952, the country's special forces, LOK, Lochoi Orenon Katadromon, i.e. mountain raiding companies, were integrated into the European stay-behind network. The CIA and LOK reconfirmed on March 25th, 1955, their mutual cooperation in a secret document signed by U.S. General Truscott for the CIA and Konstantinos Dovas, Chief of Staff of the Greek military. In addition to preparing for a Soviet invasion, the CIA instructed LOK to prevent a leftist coup. Former CIA agent Philip Agee, who was sharply criticized in the U.S. for having revealed sensitive information, insisted that paramilitary groups directed by CIA officers operated in the 60s throughout Europe, and he stressed that perhaps no activity of the CIA could be as clearly linked to the possibility of internal subversion. So the CIA fucks the guy for telling people the truth. They're like, no, you can't do that. According to Electra, LOK was involved in a military coup d'etat on 21st of April 1967, which took place 1 month before the scheduled national elections, for which opinion polls predicted an overwhelming victory of the centrist Center Union of George and Andreas Papandreou. Under the command of paratrooper Lieutenant Colonel Kostas Aslanides, LOK took control of the Greek Defense Ministry, while Brigadier General Stylianos Patakos gained control of communication centers, parliament, the royal palace, and according to detailed lists, arrested over 10,000 people.
Oh shit.
According to Ganser, Phillips Talbot, the U.S. ambassador in Athens, disapproved of the military coup which established the regime of the colonels, complaining that it represented a rape of democracy, to which Jack Maury, the CIA chief of station in Athens, answered, "How can you rape a whore?"
Oh, man!
Oh my god! Shamelessly saying that, yep, we fucking did whatever we wanted. Fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my.
Wow.
Arrested and then exiled in Canada and Sweden, Andreas Papandreou later returned to Greece, where he won the 1981 election, forming the first socialist government of Greece's post-war history. According to his own testimony, Ganser alleges, he discovered the existence of the secret NATO army, then codenamed Red Sheepskin, as acting prime minister in 1984 and had given orders to dissolve it. Following Giulio Andreotti's revelations in 1990, the Greek defense minister confirmed that a branch of the network, known as Operation Sheepskin, operated in his country until 1988. In December of 2005, journalist Kleanthis Grivas published an article in To Proto Thema, a Greek Sunday newspaper, in which he accused Sheepskin for the assassination of CIA station chief Richard Welch in Athens in 1975, as well as the assassination of British military attaché Stephen Saunders in 2000. This was denied by the U.S. State Department, who responded that the Greek terrorist organization 17 November was responsible for both assassinations, and that Grivas's central piece of evidence had been Westmoreland Field Manual, which the State Department, as well as an independent congressional inquiry, have alleged to be a Soviet forgery. Yes, the Russians. The State Department also highlighted the fact that, in the case of Richard Welch, Grievous bizarrely accuses the CIA of playing a role in the assassination of one of its own senior officials, while Sheepskin couldn't have assassinated Stephen Saunders for the simple reason that, according to the U.S. government, the Greek government stated it dismantled the Stay Behind network in 1988.
Oh my god.
They said they got rid of it, so it couldn't have been that.
Holy fuck.
Holy shit.
Just a pro tip for all you young people out there. If you would like to sow social discourse and commit atrocities, just blame it on the Russians and you're good to go.
Apparently.
Yeah, don't worry.
Them dirty Russians.
Yeah, if you just claim in court that you're fighting the Red Stain, the CIA will probably pull you out of jail just to put you into service. After they MK Ultra all your memories away.
Yeah, fuck. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So this goes on, guys. There's how many different countries here? Most of Europe is involved in this.
Yeah.
Those
are the two. We did the three big ones so far in the NATO countries, which was Italy, Germany, and Greece. Those are the three biggest breakdowns that we've got here.
Yeah. And
we're gonna do Austria next because that's the big. Oh, actually, Switzerland is the biggest non-NATO country.
Yeah, but I mean, we can touch on Switzerland. The thing about Switzerland is actually really well covered on the internet, from what I've seen. So there's quite a bit, but we're near the end. So I think probably we shouldn't touch on Switzerland. Just honestly,
just
YouTube it, because the Switzerland one people are really interested in, but you don't hear much about Austria. So let's touch on that one. I guess it's my turn, right? In Austria, the first secret stay-behind army was exposed in 1947. It had been set up by the far-right Theodor Suchek. Soucek?
It's Austria.
What?
It's Austria, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm trying to, but that's kind of, they're just Ost-German, so they speak Ost-German. So Theodor Suchek. I'm going to go with Suchek. And Hugo Rosener, who both insisted during their trial that they were carrying out the secret operation with full knowledge and support of the U.S. and British occupying powers. Sentenced to death, they were pardoned under mysterious circumstances by President Korner. Franz Ola set up a new secret army codenamed Österreichischer Wandersport und Geselligkeitsverein.
Österreichischer Wandersport.
Und
Geselligkeitsverein.
Geselligkeitsverein.
Literally, Austria,
calm down with your names.
Sports and society.
This is the one I was talking about. This is the one where if you want to join a hiking and sports society, you accidentally become a terrorist.
Yeah.
With the cooperation of MI6 and the CIA, he later explained that we bought cars under his name. We installed communication centers in several regions of Austria, confirming that the special units were trained in the use of weaponry and plastic explosives. He stated that there must have been a couple of thousand people working for us. Only very, very highly positioned politicians and some members of the union knew about it. In 1965, police discovered a stay-behind arms cache in the old mines close to Windisch Bleiberg, and forced British authorities to hand over a list of the location of 33 other caches in Austria, which makes sense. You would probably be like, hey, dude, we found a bunch of explosives that we probably shouldn't just let anyone have, especially in Austria, because I believe in Austria there's no guns or anything too, right? They have
very anti-firearms.
Yeah, to this day, one of my very best friends, Kai, we don't talk much. He was important to my life. Learned a lot from that guy. Anyways, pretty with it country. Gotta say, I like Austrians. Also, by the way, he sounded nothing like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I was surprised at at first. But it turns out that Arnold Schwarzenegger probably didn't learn very well. He spent most of his time just taking steroids and lifting things.
He wasn't the smartest guy ever.
Yeah, just terrible accent.
Well, he also came over here and know how to speak like 2 words.
Yeah, man. When I met Kai, I didn't even think he was from Europe. He just spoke like perfect English. And then once you got to know him, you're like, oh, he does have an accent. Yeah, pretty nuts. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked here.
Yep.
In
1990.
In 1990, when secret stay-behind armies were uncovered all around Europe, the Austrian government said that no secret army had existed in the country. However, 6 years later, Boston Globe revealed the existence of a secret CIA arms cache in Austria. Austrian President Thomas Kletzl and Chancellor Franz Vranitzky insisted that they had known nothing of the existence of the secret army and demanded the U.S. launch a full-scale investigation into the violation of Austria's neutrality, which was denied by President Bill Clinton. State Department spokesman Nicholas Burns, appointed in August 2001 by President George Bush as the U.S. As the U.S. permanent representative to the Atlantic Treaty Organization, where an ambassador to NATO, he headed the combined State Defense Department United States mission to NATO and coordinated the NATO response to the September 11th, 2001 attacks. Insisted. That was a fucking mouthful of a sentence, by the way, guys. That was all, like, there was no fucking periods there. Insisted the aim was noble and was correct, to try to help Austria if it was under occupation. What went wrong is that successive Washington administrations simply decided not to talk to the Austrian government about it. So they set up in Austria and they were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit.
They just said the Austrians don't need to know about it.
Yeah, we don't give a fuck. Man. What a fucking mouthful of a sentence. Where does that start? I gotta read it again. Just to...
Right. State Department spokesman Nicholas Burns, appointed in August 2001 by President George Bush as the U.S. permanent representative to the Atlantic Treaty Organization, where, as ambassador to NATO, he headed the combined State Defense Department United Missions to NATO and coordinated NATO response to September 11, 2001 attacks. Insisted the aim was noble. That's like, holy fuck.
Yeah, that's
a long ass sentence.
I feel like in high school, man, that's a 3 out of 6. You know, like your teacher would be like, "That's a run-on sentence. You got to structure it up."
Mm-hmm. You need to break up these subjects a little bit.
State Department spokesman Nicholas Burns, appointed in August 2001 by President George Bush as the U.S. permanent representative to the Atlantic Treaty Organization, where as ambassador to NATO, he headed a combined State Department United States mission to NATO and coordinated. Yeah, there was a few.
Break that first bit. It would be like State Department Nicholas Burns, was appointed in August 2001 by President George Bush as the U.S. permanent representative to the Atlantic Treaty Organization. Period.
Maybe we should do what my elementary school teachers taught you, right? And then you just breathe in at commas, right? So where does this start again? State Department spokesperson Nicholas Burns, appointed in 2001 by President George Bush as the U.S. permanent representative to the Atlantic Treaty Organization, where, as an ambassador to NATO, he the combined State Defense. Those are too close together. You're not supposed to breathe at commas. Yeah, to hell with you, Miss Goodwin.
Whoever wrote that paragraph sucks, honestly. That's written like shit.
Well, I think it's because they have to, like...
That sentence could be broken down into
I think a big piece of problem with, like, writing stuff onto the Wikipedia is, like, if you don't add a bunch of the relevant information, someone will just be like, citation needed, citation needed, citation needed. This one seems to be very well backed up, so you don't...
Yeah, there's citations.
They don't have...
everywhere.
There's
citations everywhere on this fucking article.
Yeah, that's right. So it's been done. But a lot of this, like, you go to the end of a section, and then usually if it's not fully developed as a piece of information on the Wikipedia, it'll say further information needed, this inconclusive, blah, 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 blah. Like when you look at some of the things I've tried to look up in the past, because I love getting lost on Wikipedia, you'll come up to a certain section and it'll be like more information needed, non-corroborable or whatever. None of this. This is all 100% sources cited. And we could even go down here. References. 1, 2, 3, 98 different references used on this. Further reading, Francesco Cacciatore, 2021. Oh, this is a brand new book. Stay Behind Networks and Interim Flexible Strategy, the Gladio Case and the U.S. Covert Intervention in Italy in the Cold War, Intelligence and National Security.
Which article number is that?
That's at the very end, further reading. So.
Oh, further reading. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So this dude wrote.
Francesco Cacciatore. That was one of the lead dude we were reading about up there.
That's right. Motherfucker wrote a book.
Guys breaking down this whole operation.
Read his book.
Look at that. If you really want to know more, find that book.
Danielle
It's got a long-ass
Ganser,
name.
2005, NATO's Secret Armies, Operation Gladio and Terrorism in Western Europe. This is that guy who did the solid summary.
And they fucking shit all over him saying that he was a nutcase.
Yeah.
The CIA was like, no, this guy's fucking, he's insane. Don't worry. Holy fuck. Paul L. Williams in 2015. Yeah, this is one of the ones that's popping up. As soon as you typed in Operation Gladio, this book popped up. Operation Gladio, the unholy alliance between the Vatican, the CIA, and the Mafia. Prometheus books.
Yeah.
That seems to be the most well-known one, at any rate.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You type it in Google, and that comes up like 4 times.
So this was a massive podcast. Not gonna lie, this one's probably what are we? This is like nearly an hour and a half worth of footage, and all of it pretty relevant. This was a big case. I've had a lot of fun doing this. Jesus Christ.
Gladio's it's so
Operation Gladio,
so in depth.
Yeah, 100%. So
stumbling across that dude being thrown out of the fucking window and completely covered up, and the officers excused for it, and the whole thing just gets like brushed under the rug.
This is what I mean about just like Wikipedia, man, and the power of the internet. Like, just get lost on Wikipedia sometimes, guys. It's amazing. I recommend you do it with the Alcubierre drive, because the more you read about it, it'll be like, we can't do it without this, and then you click the link, and then it's like, mathematicians have actually been awarded recently a Nobel Prize or whatever for figuring this out, and you're like, holy shit, we're like halfway there. All we need is some fucking dark matter, and we're good to go. But
that's literally the only thing missing is the exotic matter.
Well, that and also like the standard model. The standard model doesn't hold up to create an Alcubierre drive, right? So the laws of physics that I'm on a sidetrack, but watch the last podcast, guys. The laws of physics allow it the way that we've defined them as rules, right? But the standard model only works with string theory, right? So if you think of every particle, or whatever you want to call them, wave function of the universe, every substrate of reality only works when you think of them as strings, and then the math pans out, right? But whatever that last exotic matter is, the gravity or the force responsible for either pushing or pulling things together, only works if all the other particles that are on the standard model are the players in a game of soccer. Gravity is the field, right? So we have to. So how do you define that graviton, that last particle we need, right? How do you take that field and just fucking move it? As soon as you could do that, you can instantaneously travel from here to fucking Mars, or nearly instantaneously. Anyways, it would be like imperceivably short period of time, maybe like tops an hour, whatever. You could go parsecs, right? This is like Star Wars level technology. We have a solution for it. We do not have the model to complete it, right? So we haven't completed our standard model of the universe. And once we do, we have a theory of everything, and we're gods. You guys can tell I'm kind of passionate about warp drives. We're all nerds here. Let's be real.
Yeah.
That'd
be really fucking cool.
So anyways, we were talking about Operation Gladio, though. So this has been pretty enlightening. This has been amazing. The idea that, you know, we're recruiting fucking terrorists and Nazis in order to fight Russians in post-World War II. Like,
well,
sorry, not Russians, Soviets, right? Basically.
Yeah. Any recent...
Yeah. And then not just... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Did you freeze again? All right.
Cell groups.
Oh, there you are. Your Wi-Fi's stuttering. Yeah. Well, we got your audio. Anything you'd like to say?
This is fucking nuts. Operation Gladio is insane. Yeah, the video just completely died again.
What that's okay. Well, your phone's probably overheating. It's a great webcam. But yeah, Operation Gladio is a very intense read, you know. I encourage everyone that watches this podcast to just look stuff up. If you hear about it, do your own homework. Don't let anyone tell you about it, because if you told someone that the Western nations had set up terrorist organizations, what are we trying to call them again? Intelligence operatives?
Something like that.
International security patriots? Non-reconstructed Nazis? If you told your granddad that your nation had set up non-reconstructed Nazis in Germany to fight the Soviets post-World War II, they would call bullshit on you. 100%. We all have that one uncle or auntie or whatever. They don't want to listen to you. They don't want to believe that your government is capable of any nefarious actions. Yeah. This is why you look up your own stuff.
Yeah, they'd be wrong because this is all straight up public fact.
No, that guy fell out a window. Oh, he's just tripped?
Yeah. After being interrogated for 3 days.
Yeah.
And during an interrogation.
Yeah.
Under supervision.
Well, it was a standard interrogation, they said. That's why they let him sit at a fucking window and fall. Anyways.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's tying up a loose end.
So there you guys go. That's Operation Gladio. The least glad I've ever been to read about. Okay, I'm so dumb. All right. My name is SamwellKrom on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Hit me with the follows. If you like this video. Do you know what I'm going to say, Stanley? And hit that fucking like button. I can't even speak. Yeah, you got to hit the like button and comments. And the few of you that do watch this, I know you've been sending me personal messages as to things you'd like for me to talk about on future podcasts. Please comment. Please comment on the video and let me know there. It's the best place to keep this organized. And it also helps my YouTube analytics a lot. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell that says all, unless you hate me. Go for the middle one, but let's be real. Please don't hate me. I love you. Just hit the top button, and we will get you more content in the future. I'm going to do this podcast once a week for the rest of my fucking life. And I'm probably going to start a second podcast on video games if those are the people that are here. So, and also it's a YouTube channel. So if you want me to do anything like stupid challenges, anything like that, give me a comment. We'll do the challenge up. Okay. So to summarize, share this video with your friends and your family and hit the like button and subscribe and comment. If you do all three of those things, we will skyrocket into the moon, and the whole world will know about Nazi sleeper cells in fucking Germany.
We will love you, and we might start making t-shirts.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, we'll make t-shirts. I'll make t-shirts right now.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty easy, honest.
So, yeah. Don't forget to hit me up on Twitch. I live stream every week. I have a schedule posted on my Twitch. That's not the real schedule. Don't listen to it. I need to change it. I need to change it to 24 hours a day whenever I feel like I pop on Twitch. So it's not an organized schedule right now. Mr. Stanley, is there anything you'd like to promote?
There was something at the beginning that I remember talking about, but I can't remember what it was now, so no.
Okay. Do you have any advice for anyone that's watching the video on how to live a good life?
Always get both sides of an argument. Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Yeah.
Be skeptical, but don't let your brain fall out of your head. Don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out of your fucking head.
Yeah.
Like, you got to put a halter on some things.
Yep. Stand up for what you believe in. Also, my number one piece of advice to everyone watching this video is if you're ever detained by police, don't be interrogated by window. Peace out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.